Okay guys, this video is going to be pretty interesting because it's going to be about why I have been called a bully. Yes, you heard that right, why I have been called a bully. Okay, I guess I won't even bother numbering them because I'll just lose track of it. Alright, why I've been called a bully. The first reason, or one of the reasons, is because of the simple fact that when I cut someone off, I don't even bother telling them why. A social worker has called me a bully because of that and has even gotten extremely hostile with me and asked me, why do you do that to people? The reason why I do that to people, for all of you who've had that difficult person that's just hard to cut off and won't leave you alone, you understand why I do this? You might understand why I do this. Some of you might, some of you might not. It's simply because they just argue whatever point you try to make. They don't get it, they don't understand, they just want what they want when they want it, and they want you to do what they want. Number two, I'm cutthroat and I'm honest. Don't ask me if you never ask me if you've been an ass in a situation, especially if you already feel like an ass, because I don't care if you're my best friend, I don't care who you are, I'm going to tell you if you were being stupid in that situation or not. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. One girl called me a bully at one point because of the simple fact that when she asked me a question, I gave her an answer that she did not like, and had the nerve to tell me that I was insensitive to people's feelings, when as a matter of fact, it's not that I'm insensitive to people's feelings, I'm just not going to sit there and sugarcoat and lie about anything. I take criticism extremely well, I know how to dish it out, and I know how to take it in. If someone says something about me that I don't like, oh well, I let them know what I don't like about them too. As in, like, if a teacher tells me, like, okay, well, you handled that situation really badly and you were being really, really rude to this other staff the entire time, fine, this was back in high school, fine, I would understand that. And, yeah, I take criticism well. I just don't like people who can dish it out but they can't take it. So that's another reason why I've been called a bully, for the simple fact that I just refuse to sugarcoat anything, and this person was like, oh, you need to be more sensitive to people's feelings. I'm not insensitive to other people's feelings. The problem is, I don't think that just because your mommy and daddy have given you everything your entire life and you've never had to hear the truth before, I don't think that means that I have to bend over and kiss your ass. The entire world isn't going to bend over and kiss your ass, so I'm not going to do it. Number three. This leads back to my tendency to just cut people off and just not talk to them anymore. And I've just been, and I've just flat out ignored people who I didn't want to talk to who've tried to talk to me. I just wouldn't respond to them. And I've had teachers tell me that I was rude. Now that I'm in college, it's totally different set of rules, but people will very quickly say, those who've had a bad experience with me will say, oh, she's a bitch, or what. People who I've been extremely cutthroat with. There's this one guy who made a sport, you heard it right, a sport out of getting on my nerves. And when I finally got sick of just trying to ignore him, he's like, oh, I know she tries to ignore me, so I do whatever I can to piss her off, and it's really funny to watch how mad she gets. And so one day he said something to me, and I just said something really simple to him back, and he freaked out. He called me a cunt, he called me every name in the book. It was actually really funny. The teacher threw him out, and I was laughing, and they're like, this isn't funny. I'm like, it's kind of funny, seeing as though he's been messing with me for 3 weeks, and couldn't take one comment back. So yeah, that's another reason why I've been called a bully, because I just don't put up with people's retardation. And I know that's a politically incorrect word. I do have a disability. I know that it's rude to say that, alright? Mine's a visual disability. I know that it's rude to say that. But here's what I'm saying. If you basically live to agitate someone, eventually they're going to say something you don't like. Like these idiots who touch people all the damn time, and they will tell them to stop. People who don't know when to stop definitely do not like me, because I've actually grabbed someone and told them, if you don't stop doing that, I'm going to shove this fucking pencil through your eye. Stop it right fucking now. And they said I was overreacting, even though they've been doing this activity for 30 minutes. And I've been telling them to just stop it, and they just thought that it was the funniest thing in the world. Reason why people may call me a bully is because, once again, those people who dish it out but they can't take it back. They say something, like one guy, he was new to our school, so I decided just try to, take it in stride. He was new, and he was upset because I had stopped talking to him. The reason why I stopped talking to him is because he was getting way too sexual with me, and I was already seeing someone, and when I told him this, he said he really didn't care about me seeing someone. So I just decided to stop talking to him, and he was far too intrusive. He touched my stuff, which teachers know drive me insane, and he was just too intrusive. And he didn't get obvious signs that somebody was distressed about what they were doing. So I just didn't talk to him one day, and he got really close to me, and I moved away. He says, why are you moving away from me? I didn't respond. He's like, hey! I'm like, whoa. And then he went around the classroom asking why I was being such a bitch, and, you know, like, oh, she's ignoring me, that is just so fucking rude, what a cunt, and just saying really terrible things about me. So this went on for 3 days with staff members trying to make him stop. They actually did a lot to try to get him to stop, and he wouldn't. So one day we're walking outside, and he's now dating one of my friends, which I was very upset about, but you know, people's choices are their choices. But anyways, he's just like, you're gonna let her walk with us? She's terribly rude to me. She's always like, and she says, listen, just leave her alone, because if you don't stop, you're gonna get a bad surprise. People will tell you this very quickly when it comes to messing with me. Just if she, like, I don't automatically react violently, just so you guys know. So we're walking, and he says something to me, and I just turned and said, shut up, you pedophile. And he's like, pedophile? The reason why I called him this is because when me and him first met, he said something about something I did was illegal. Like, one of my friends was over, they were like 20, and I had beer here, and they took one of my beers. They drink it here. And he said that was illegal, and I could go to jail for that. But, by the way, keep in mind that this person turned 21 2 weeks later, so, I mean, and I didn't even know they'd taken it into the, what was I going to do, pump the beer out of their stomach? But after he had told me that he actually was sexually active with a 14-year-old girl, this guy's 19. And I said, it's kind of funny that you're saying such shit about me with legal matters when you do that. And he told me that I needed to watch myself. So yeah, I was like, you blank a 14-year-old, you sicko. He says, okay, shut up before I smack you. I said, go right ahead, you're going right to jail for assault afterwards. And he tried to call me another name, and I laughed at him. I said, well, you're such a pathetic little child throwing a temper tantrum just because someone won't talk to you. He went ballistic. Now, this was after 3 days of him picking on me. I was just like, okay, he'll eventually stop. Like, I'd be writing on a table, and he would start banging on it really hard to make me mess up. And I'd look up at him, and he's like, you're rude. I'm like... So after that, he left me alone. And then the next time I stopped talking to him, because my friend asked me to at least try to kind of sort of interact with him. And the next time I stopped talking to him was because he was trying to force me to break up with my boyfriend in the time span he wanted. I was going to do it after school was over because my boyfriend at the time was a nutcase. I think I had made a video about him. But anyways, so I stopped talking to him, but he didn't say anything rude to me anymore. What he did was he tried to force her to stop speaking to me and threatened to break up with her if she did talk to me. Real class act. So I've also been called a bully because of the fact that I lash out at people who basically do stupid stuff like that. I do not think that any of these instances were bullying. I was just tired of dealing with people's bullshit. Here's the thing. For all of you who can't take an honest answer, just don't ask then. Just don't ask the question. If you really want something that'll just comfort you, then you do it yourself. Don't go ask someone and put them in a position of telling you the truth and then having you act the way I had people act towards me. And for all of you douchebags who fuck with people because you think it's funny, don't be surprised when someone gets mad at you. It's like, those are instances where I've been called a bully, so comment, tell me what you think, if you think it really was bullying. I don't feel like I was being a bully because of the simple fact that, I mean, being forced into social interaction, I mean, no, if I don't want to talk to the person, I'm just not going to talk to them. I don't tell anyone else not to talk to them. Hell, I've had a person who was trying to talk to me, and she was friends with the entire table, and I would not give her any acknowledgement when she tried to speak to me, because I didn't want to talk to her. Did I tell anyone else not to talk to her? No, it's none of my business. But those are instances where I have been called a bully, or someone said that I was just mean because of how I reacted to a situation, or, you know, like, when that girl got upset with me for telling her this answer she didn't want, and I said, you see, he knew you'd react like that, that's why he didn't want to tell you. And she was like, don't you think that was a little rude? Like, you said I couldn't handle the truth. I told you that this person didn't want to eat lunch with you because he didn't like you, and you flipped the fuck out. I had every right to say that. I don't care how you feel about it. Oh, and that's another thing. People will swear to God that I'm insensitive to people's feelings. Now, if my friend comes to me and they're upset because their dog just died, I'm not going to say, oh, well, that's your problem. No. Now, when someone's bitching and whining during a classroom debate because they're not getting their way, and they're like, in case you can't tell, this is upsetting me, so let's just stop talking about it. Oh, I don't care. And when they tell me something I said or did upset them, like, okay, like, when we were talking about medieval torture devices. One of my favorites is the Iron Maiden. Now, that's the Victorian model. The medieval model was different than the ones with the spikes in it. A lot of people don't know that. But she got upset and didn't want to talk about it anymore because innocent people died in those traps. And I understand that, but innocent people die every damn day, people. I'm not happy about that. But why are you whining about people that died back in the Victorian age? And I'm not saying that those people weren't important or their lives were minuscule, but we're talking about a subject we're talking about torture devices. There's one where they seal you in something and they pour hot gasoline in it. And yeah, that's one of those gorier ones. But yeah, but she started whining because she didn't like the topic, and she told me it really pissed her off how I kept flaunting it. I said, no, I don't care. And a lot of people who will tell me things like that are very shocked at my cold reaction to them. I'm like, so, here's the thing, people. People are coddled way too much in this society. We've been brainwashed and conditioned that, oh, well, the nice thing to do would be like, oh, I'm terribly sorry and apologize. Fuck that. Like, there's really no such thing as an honest person, from what a lot of people may perceive, for the simple fact that we've been told, like, oh, be quiet, be well-mannered, be this. Well, I don't believe there's really no such thing as an honest person personally, because I do know people who are just very, like, they don't care how mad someone gets at them. Which I'm glad, because it's just, there's a fine line though between being a douchebag and being honest. Like, one of my friends was feeling self-conscious about something. I told her that if she really feels that way about this, then she should try to fix it and not be upset about it. And I'd be willing to help her do it. I didn't say, oh yeah, you're really nasty and disgusting. But no. Like, a lot of people think that I use honesty as an excuse to be a bitch. No, I'm never unnecessarily cruel, except for with those people who do that I can dish it out but can't take. Yeah, then you get cruel, Jasmine. But if someone asks me an honest question, they are going to get an honest answer. Just as I asked a friend of mine about a shirt I was trying to buy, and she said, honestly, it's just not you. It looks like it would be nice on someone else, but it's just not for you. Okay. Thanks for telling me. I would personally rather someone told me something about myself, like if I have a tendency to be whiny or overly demanding or anything like that. Actually, one person I talked to told me that I have a tendency to tell people that what they think is stupid, and that's why he sometimes doesn't say anything about what he might be thinking. Now, when I do things like that, I'm just saying it because that's how I feel about it. I still respect the person's opinion despite what I'm saying. That's where people get confused with me. I'm like, oh, well, that's stupid, but I still respect how they feel about it. The only people I don't really respect how they feel about things are hyper-vegans and hyper-vegetarians. And I'm not saying that all vegans and vegetarians are bad. I know a few. I'm saying the ones that sit there and they'll judge you for eating meat. I personally tell them that what they're saying is stupid, because people aren't going to stop eating meat just because you're being an asshole. So, or as the annoying orange would say, an apple. So, yeah. So that's pretty much just why I've been called a bully. I don't feel that I'm a bully. I've never been unnecessarily mean to someone when the situation didn't call for it, honestly. Like, when this guy kept messing with my food, kept hiding my supplies and stuff because he thought it was funny, and I flipped out on him one day and he never did it again. And he just thought he was being funny. Like, I was looking for my folder for a week, and I was like, what happened to it? And he's like, guys, what happened to it? Oh yeah, I took it. And it just turned into him always messing with my stuff, and I just finally flipped out on him when one day I was having a bad day and I was starving. So I sit down to eat my lunch, and I turn around and it's gone, and he has it, and he's laughing, and I snatch it from him. I said, listen, asshole, I am sick of you fucking with my shit every time you get the opportunity. I should to walk away and go to the fucking bathroom without worrying about you fucking with my shit. Never touch my fucking food! He's like, and everyone at the table's laughing at him, like, she told you, like, you know, I'm like, that's the only times when I've really gotten angry with someone, for the simple fact that, really, dude? So for all of you douchebags who like to fuck with people, for all of you guys who like to play jokes but can't take one back, for all of you guys who like to dish it out but can't take it back in, grow the fuck up. And for all of you who might have been called cynics or mean, maybe you're really not mean and you really shouldn't be trying to change yourself because of what people say. If you're just an honest person, but like, I've seen cute girls who just pick on somebody. Oh, nice shirt. Oh, thank you. Too bad it's like 3 sizes too small for you. Yeah, you're being a cunt. There's no reason to say that. There just isn't. So, yeah. Alright, so I hope you guys liked it. You could tell me what you think about the video. Tell me if you think that I, have some problems with, and I've been told that I can be hostile sometimes, but that is a purposeful action on my part, actually. Sometimes I will come off as really hostile on purpose, because whoever is around, are in the group or in the classroom with me, like I have this really annoyed look on my face and I'm constantly agitated when someone asks me the slightest question, that is a purposeful act because I do not wish to interact with those people. But when I was called hostile once, when we were in a social work group in my old school, I just made a joke out of it. I'm like, who are you calling hostile? I'm not hostile! And I'm like messing around with the other girls and they're like, well, I don't think you're a bully or you're hostile. I just think that you get tired of people messing with you. And, you know, even I wanted them all to say what they really felt, so they wrote them down on, I was not in the room when they did this. Everyone wrote how they felt about me on a piece of paper. And one of them said, well, sometimes you can be kind of rude to me, but sometimes you're really, really sweet, and, you know, you're a really understanding person, so, yeah. And I've had the other ones that were just like, no one thought that I really had an issue. But yeah, I want people to honestly tell me if they have an issue with how and I mean a legitimate issue, not I told you something and you didn't like it, or I was talking about a subject that you didn't like and you wanted me to change it and I refused to change it, or blah blah blah, none of that bullshit. But if there's an honest legit problem I'm having, then I'd like to be told about it. Alright, well, you know, comment, rate, and subscribe. I will see you guys in another video.